Hello, my little sun rays. Grand rising to you all. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I achieved this really pretty pink peach princess-esque set. Yes, say that 3 times fast. But if you are interested in recreating this look or just want to see the steps that I took to create this look, continue watching. And if this video is at all helpful or you just like watching nail content, I will be putting out new videos in the near future. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing so that way the YouTube algorithm can push my content so others can find my videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into this tutorial. Now keep in mind all products that I'll be using will be linked in the cards below, so feel free to check that out. So the kit that we'll be using today is the Makartt all-in-one polygel kit. Fun fact, this was actually the first polygel kit that I ever purchased. I actually got it off of Amazon, and it is what sparked this love for nails. So I'm so happy I stumbled upon it. But back to this tutorial, as you can see, I am currently using the colors Natural Pink, Light Pink, White, and Misty Rose, and I am layering all of the polygels directly one on top of the other using small beads. I'll be using the spatula side of the Makartt brush tool to pretty much just make sure that all of the polygel is lined up on the ring finger nail. And now what I am going to do is I am going to mix this polygel up. Now, girl, you're probably looking at this like, girl, it's looking crazy. It is not giving the life that you told me it was going to give. And trust me, while I was doing it, I was like, this ain't giving me life either. But trust the process. Trust the process. So you're going to get a good mix on these polygels. Make sure that they're all kind of intertwined with each other because that'll give the best marble effect. So I'm spending a good amount of time just making sure that it's lined up on the nail. I try not to have to reshape as much as I can. I try to save myself as much time on filing by just making sure that everything is on the nail properly. A technique that I found works for both doing my own nails and also other people's is by working from the tip to the nail bed. So if I can offer any piece of advice for anyone who is new to polygel or just new to working on other people's nails or trying to even convert from doing their own nails to someone else's nails, that this method usually works for both. So start at the bottom, make sure that you spend a good amount of time trying to smooth out that tip. Because I guarantee you, the more time that you spend on trying to shape the polygel while it's wet, the less time you'll have to spend trying to file it when it's cured. So I am going in, and as you can see, I am working this polygel up the nail from the tip to the nail bed, from the tip to the nail bed. This is how I maintain a natural apex. So I don't generally have to go back in and try to restructure an apex on the nail because I work it up, and by that time it's pretty much full. So now you can see that we are getting to the very top of the nail bed, or of course the cuticle sidewalls. So at this point I am going to start pushing the polygel back down. Yeah, so we did all of that to make it go all the way up the nail, and now I'm going to start working it back down. Kind of what I already told you about the whole apex thing. This is the way I limit my need for having to go back and reapply an extra bead to get that fullness of the nail. So what I do is once I've worked all the polygel all the way up the nail, and now I have like more than enough down at the bottom of my cuticles, I will then start to pat it back up in a motion, kind of working its way back to like my free edge. So you can kind of see how I am forming that very beautiful apex with only one technical bead, even though this was like 3. So you can see I am pretty much just cleaning up the sidewalls, making sure that there is no leftover polygel or really any residue kind of laying up against my skin, because again, that will cause lifting. And then I jump right back into pretty much lightly, ladies, okay? Light hands, brushing the sides and making sure that just the entire nail and the shape of it is the way I want it before I actually cure it. Because again, the more time you focus on wet polygel, the less time you'll have to focus on filing cured polygel. So I'm just kind of making sure that my cuticles and everything towards the bottom of my nail is just shaped the way I want it to. Keep in mind, it's always better to have a slight sliver of your natural nail peeking from the bottom than it is to have too much product flooding your cuticle, because like I said, the whole point of you doing your nails is so that they can last, so you can wear them, so they can be beautiful. So it doesn't help if you have lifting because your product is rubbing against the sidewalls. So as you can see, I'm taking extra careful, attention to make sure that I am pushing away the product from my skin. And I am, of course, readjusting that apex, making sure that everything's sitting right, making sure everything's laying down smoothly, there's no lumps, bumps, bruises. I'm going to make sure that I look at the nail from all angles just to ensure that everything is looking right and tight before I put it into my lamp for 60 seconds. So yes, get into this nail. You see it's not even shaped yet and it looks gorgeous. So we're going to jump right on into the middle finger and do the exact same process. I'm going to take the Makartt polygel, place 4 beads, small onto my finger, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same process of making sure it's all laying flat on the nail, mixing it up, and then we will pat, pat, pat. It was at this moment that I should have stopped because it was gorgeous. And then I went and did something stupid. I thought that there was too much white in the middle, so I decided to try to move the white in between some of the pink, and then in mixing it up, it just kind of started to look like one color. So what I decided to do was take that blob of light pink white that you see me trying to pat right now, and I just moved it onto my middle finger, onto my thumb. So, I'm just going to add some pink back onto that middle finger so that it's not looking so whitewashed or looking too one tone. And then I'm going to continue to repeat the process. So, my bad. We all learning here. This was my first time too. So as you can see, this looks a lot better. We got more mix of colors, so I'm happier with this mix than the last one. And as you can see, I'm doing the same exact process that you're going to see me do throughout my entire hand, which is starting at the tip and then working my way up to the nail bed or up to the cuticle. So I'm just currently going from side to side, patting upwards and downwards, just to try to make sure that the shape of the nail while it's wet is the way I want it. So that way, once I cure it, of course, I'll have to do less filing. That's going to be like my mantra. Do as much as you can while it's wet, because when it's dry, you're going to die. No, I'm joking. But yeah, so I'm just currently working this polygel onto this nail, smoothing it out, making sure that the shape is correct. Now, one thing I want to do is just take a moment to acknowledge Makartt polygels, okay? Makartt polygels were really the first polygel that I tried, as I told you in the beginning of this video, but their consistency is like by far, it's just amazing. I've had other companies, I've tried their polygels, I've tried to do different styles with them, and although I do love other companies' polygels as well, I will say Makartt, I'm playing favorites. So again, as you see me start to reach the cuticle and sidewall area of my nail, I am doing my absolute best to ensure that there is no product on my skin. I want these nails to last. I don't want lifting. You know, I usually get about good 3 weeks out of nails, might lose 1, maybe 2, depending on how rough I am being, but my nails stay. Also, it's of best practice to get in the habit of making sure you turn your nail. Make sure you turn it left, turn it right, up, down, etc. And that's no matter if you are just doing your own nails or doing a client's. It's just the best way for you to be able to see imperfections, so that way you can go ahead and shape your nail while it's still wet before you cure. So we've got 2 cured nails and a thumb to do before we hit my index and my pinky. So just like I've done for the last 2 nails, I am currently placing the product a little bit differently, just because obviously I have the leftover white from my middle finger now on my thumb. So it's, you know, a little funky, but we still doing the same technique. You go ahead, put it all on your nail, swirl it up. So when it comes to marbling, from what I've noticed just from, you know, me doing my own hand, you really don't have to be too perfect. Like, there is really no need to be perfect. I would say the biggest thing to just be weary of is making sure you have enough product on your nail. So I wouldn't recommend you do beads too much bigger than the ones that you've been seeing me do. And the reason why is because you don't want to have too much extra product, unless you're going to do like what I did from my middle finger to my thumb, which is, you know, just remove the excess and put it on another nail. But in this case, like if I did my thumb with too much product, since I'm not doing my index finger or my pinky like this, I would have wasted it. So just make sure you put enough product so that you don't have to go back, because with marbling especially, it's really no way to kind of remarble a marble the same way you could relayer a solid color. I'm sure you guys can see how much time I am spending making sure, again, not to have any product on my skin, on that sidewall, on my cuticle, okay? It's better to have a little bit of your natural nail peeking from underneath than it is for you to have flooded cuticles with this product, okay? So if you want your nails to last long, take good care of making sure that that bottom where your cuticle is perfect. So we are almost done. It is nothing but to do the index and my pinky. So with these 2 nails, they're going to be relatively simple. They're only going to be clear, and then I'm going to put some gems on them so that they just zhuzh up my whole set. Now, I do want to just take this time to mention that Makartt, I know y'all probably tired of me plugging them shamelessly, but Makartt has the clearest polygel. A lot of other companies might have polygel that looks clear when it comes out that bottle, but honey, when you put it under a light, okay, when it get cured, it be coming out cloudy, gray, any other color but what it's supposed to be, which is a clear, okay? Glass clear. So this is like some Cinderella glass slipper clear. Okay, that's what Makartt should call their clear. Just Cinderella glass slipper. All right. So yes, I am currently doing the same technique that I did with the other nails, just with one bead from the tip to my nail bed, and I am going to, you know, just pretty much do the exact same thing, make sure that everything is shaped exactly how I want it to be. Now, this is just a little sun tip, but make sure that for any nails that you're going to do in this style, where you have gems or anything going into wet polygel, especially gems or stones, that you have the nail shaped to perfection, to the way you want this nail to look before you have to cure it. Because you'll see in a second when I start adding the gems that once you cure it with the gems on it, you're not going to be able to file. So you want to make sure that this nail looks the way you want this nail to look before it gets cured. And I know I say that for the other nails, but especially for these, because you won't be able to file. Alrighty, so this is the moment that I have been waiting for, and it is time to get stoned. Alright, and we ain't talking about marijuana. Now, I am going to make sure that all of the gems and the jewels that I use are going to be linked in the cards below, so that way you guys can go ahead and get your hands on these beauties, okay? So now that I've already taken the time to make sure that this nail is the way I want it to look before obviously I cure it, the polygel is still wet. So I am carefully placing these stones ever so gently into this wet polygel, just so I don't, like, you know, shift or alter the shape of my nail. Also, I'm just placing these crystals kind of randomly. I will be doing like a snow covered nail, so these are like more of my accent crystals, and you'll see in just a second I'm going to be using a different kind of I guess gem after this that will give me the full effect of the look that I'm trying to create, which is like these little snow nails, or sugar nails as I think people call them. Alrighty, so still on an uncured nail, okay? We are not curing this just yet. It still needs to be sticky. I'm gonna sprinkle the small, tiny gems right onto my nail. These are very, very fine crystals. I will make sure, like I said, everything I'm using is linked in the cards below. So I bought all of this basically off of Amazon. They're very affordable, but I am just kind of making sure that everything is laying properly while the nail is still wet before I cure. So I'm just rearranging crystals, making sure that I'm moving the excess crystals that may have landed on my skin off my skin. I'm just trying to make sure that all of the crystals that are still on my nail are all kind of laying or resting up against some product, so that way they don't pop off as I'm, like, you know, doing stuff with my hands on the day-to-day. As you can see, I'm just spending a little bit of extra time making sure that this is, again, in the shape that I want it in before I cure it. You're going to see me take the spatula end of the brush, and as you can see, I'm just straightening out my sidewalls, because I want to ensure that this nail is pretty much the shape it's going to be, because, you know, with these types of nails, as I mentioned in the beginning, there is really no filing afterwards. So I'm just doing my best to kind of make sure that this nail is shaped the way I would want it to be shaped, so that way I don't have to, like, be upset that I can't file it or, you know, do additional shaping to it. Now, unbeknownst to me, I did not realize that I didn't actually film me doing my pinky on camera. So kind of just like the way I did my index finger, it's the exact same way except for without all the snow crystals. So I just did the pink crystals, shaped it, made sure that, you know, obviously it was the way it was supposed to be, cured it, and we are caught up. Now, for this particular part of the video, I actually have this kind of in regular speed. This is me now filing. So I have just a regular hand file, 100, 180 grit. I tend to, the way I lay my polygel and how meticulous I put it down, I tend to only have to hand file before I need to put a top coat. So as long as you spend the time really trying to make sure that the polygel is the way you want it to be before you actually cure it, the time that's spent on filing is really cut down. So out of my nails, it probably takes about 10 minutes to do a nail. And then after I cure it and do everything with that, filing only takes me about 15 minutes for my entire hand. Now, when it comes to filing, I always start on the sidewalls. So I'll start on the sidewalls just to make sure that the nail is completely sharp in shape. And then I'll work my way back to the cuticles. So you'll see me kind of leveling out the cuticles, making sure they're extra smooth, buffed out, no scratches, etc. And after I'm done filing, this is usually where I'd stop. But for the purpose of this video, just showing you other ways that you can make sure your nail is leveled, you can also take a zebra sanding band. So that's the white sanding band. I like to opt in for the zebra sanding bands more than the red ones because the red ones are so much more coarse, a lot harder for you to control how much product you're actually removing from the nail. So having the zebra sanding band going at a low speed gives you a lot more control in trying to just make sure that the nail is leveled and smoothed out. So you'll see me taking the zebra sanding band and just going over my nails just to make sure that everything is kind of smooth. Now, to take it one step further, what I'm going to then do is actually take my black sanding band. So that's an even softer grit than the zebra one. And I'm going to go over that, and that's more of like buffing. So this will kind of just make sure that there's no scratches in my nail, getting rid of any uneven surfaces that maybe the zebra sanding band may have left behind, etc. And we're going to take it one step further, okay? We're going to be extra. We're going to do the most. So I'm going to take this cylinder drill bit. This cylinder drill bit is much more finer in terms of, texture. So this really just glazes right on top of the surface and just gets all the scratches out. So I'm doing the most to make sure that these nails are smooth because at this point you really probably didn't have to do this. Now this particular bit, any really circular bit, I use to just kind of clean the underneath of my nail because no matter how much time I spend on the top just trying to perfect and take my time, every now and then there's still some product at the bottom of my nail. So in the event that there is some leftover product, I will take like not a cylinder, but like a oval or circular type of drill bit and just get underneath my nails. So you'll see me just kind of cleaning them out. And I am now wiping off all of the dust with some alcohol, and it is time to top coat. So I'm just taking my Makartt top coat that came with one of the kits that I've gotten previously, and I am just top coating and also bottom coating my nails, especially the ones that are clear because I do want them to be particularly see-through. I think actually all of the nails I do coat the bottom. Now sometimes you don't need to do a bottom coat underneath the nail in the event that you have like a completely solid color because nobody's really going to be able to see that, but I usually always top coat the bottom as well. Just because when somebody flips their nails over, I just want it to kind of look uniform, be shiny completely all over. Now, when it comes to nails that have jewels, I usually always do a thin layer of top coat as well on them. I'll kind of avoid bigger gems just because I don't want to dull their color. But that just gives it an extra little seal of protection so that you don't lose any stones. And one last tip for long-lasting nails, although I did say make sure you avoid your cuticles when it comes to the polygel, make sure that you do get your top coat all the way down to your cuticles to seal them. Now, I got this cuticle oil off of Amazon as well. It smells amazing, like a honeysuckle flower. And I'm just going to finish off the look by making sure that my cuticles don't look crusty and dusty because they most definitely will after you do a fresh set. and a quick coat of baby oil, and my hands are done, y'all. Yes, get into it. Get into it, okay? Because it's the marble for me. It's the stones for me. It's that shape for me. Yeah, I'm hyped. But you guys will be hyped too when you recreate this set. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. This is my first video, so if you found it helpful, make sure you like this video. If you have any questions or future sets that you'd like for me to recreate, make sure you comment down below, and also subscribe because again, there's more content coming in the future. I hope you all have a sunny day. Bye-bye.